FTMO almost never makes big changes. And if you've been around prop trading for a while, you know that's part of the reason traders trust them. They build their reputation on structure, discipline, and the classic two-step challenge. No shortcuts and no gimmicks. That's why this matters, because for the first time ever, FTMO has finally introduced the one-step challenge, where no verification phases are required anymore. And if you pass, you go straight into the funded account. And when the gold standard of two-step challenges finally introduced the one-step, it's not random. It means that the industry goat has finally approved the framework. Before you get so excited, here is the dangerous part. A lot of traders as we speak are already looking at this and thinking, finally, this is much more easy when it comes to passing prop firm challenges. I will be honest with you, there is no free lunch when it comes to prop firm world. One step does not automatically mean it's easier. Sometimes it just means less room for error, by the way. If you misunderstand the rules, size your risk the old way, or trade this like a standard FTMO two-step challenge, this account can get shut down very fast. And that's exactly why we need to break this down properly today, before you buy anything, before you place a single trade. So what is the FTMO one-step challenge? At a high level, the FTMO one-step challenge is exactly what it sounds like. Instead of going through two separate phases, the challenge and the verification, you now have one single evaluation phase. Hit the profit target, adhere to the rules, follow the consistency requirement, and once you do all that consistently, you can apply directly for an FTMO funded account. It's very important to note that this new model is not decommissioning the old one. This is an additional product FTMO just introduced, aiming to address the everlasting demand in the prop firms market. So let us look into the main differences between the classic two-step model versus the new one-step. Starting at the top, evaluation phases. The classic FTMO model uses two phases, the challenge followed by verification. The one-step removes that entirely. It's a one single evaluation phase from the start to finish. Profit target is next. On the two-step, you're aiming for 10% in phase 1, then 5% in phase 2. On the one-step challenge, it's 10% in total, one time with no second stages. Now here is where risk control starts to tighten, the daily loss limit. In the two-step model, it allows us to have 5% daily loss on both stages, the challenge and the verification. The one-step model cuts that down to 3% only, which can have significant effect on position sizing and trade frequency. Overall drawdown also works differently. The two-step uses a static 10% drawdown from the starting balance of the account. This mark does not change even if you have realized profits. With the one-step model, it uses a 10% maximum drawdown as well, but this time it's a trailing maximum drawdown, meaning as you make profits, your maximum loss level moves up with you and it's calculated at the end of every trading day. There is also a new consistency rule on the one-step model. No single trading day can account for more than 50% of your total profits, meaning you can't just trade one or two trades to pass the challenge. The two-step model has no equivalent rule when it comes to consistency. Profit split is another major difference between the two models. On the two-step, you start at 80% and you can scale it up to 90%. On the one-step model, you get 90% from your very first payout. Challenge fee refund is also different. With the two-step model, the fee is refunded after your first payout. With the one-step model, the fee is not refunded at all. But I would argue that 90% profit split in the one-step model will easily compensate this gap when you get consistent payouts. Swing account availability is another major difference between the two models. The swing account is available if you pass via the two-step model only. There is no swing account option if you qualify through the one-step model, which is a very notable distinction, especially if you are a swing or news trader. And that finally leads us into pricing. At the time of recording this episode, the one-step model is €499, while the two-step model is €540. Quick thing before we proceed. If you like this kind of deep dive analysis about prop firms and their products, hit the like button. It tells me to do more content like this to reach more prop firm traders everywhere. I usually like to go deeper into the rules that are deeply engraved in the fine print. That's why the next sections focus on rules that don't show up in the marketing headlines, but absolutely affect your trading. Can you trade news? During the evaluation phase, the answer is very simple. For both products, FTMO Challenge 1 step and the FTMO Challenge 2 steps, you may trade freely during all macroeconomic news releases with no restrictions, no blackout windows, and no special conditions. That means scalping news or holding through news or opening trade during high impact events is allowed during the challenge itself. Where the difference appears is after you get funded. Once you transition to an FTMO funded account, standard news restrictions apply unless you are on a swing account. So here is one key limitation for the one-step challenge model. The swing account, which removes all these kind of restrictions, overnight holding and weekend restrictions, is available only if you are qualified for a funded account through the two-step challenge only. There is no swing account option for traders who pass via the one step, which is a very big limitation for swing traders. Second, do drawdown rules and the best day consistency rule apply after funding? The answer is yes. When you move to an FTMO funded account through the one step model, all trading objectives continue to apply, which is the maximum daily loss of 3%, the maximum loss trailing model, the best day consistency rule of the 50%, and the news and weekend holding restrictions. Third, the maximum capital allocation, which is another point many traders could overlook. The maximum capital allocation applies across all FTMO accounts combined. That includes the one-step accounts, the two-step accounts, any mix of both. You cannot exceed the FTMO maximum total allocation by stacking different challenges type. Also, you cannot merge two funded accounts from different challenges types. Meaning, if you got funded through a two-step challenge and then you got funded through a one-step challenge, you cannot simply merge these accounts. Merges are only allowed for funded accounts that are following the same challenge path. So who is the FTMO one-step model is actually for, and who should avoid it altogether? At this point, the one-step model shouldn't look better or worse. It should look different. So here is how I would break it down. The one-step makes sense if you trade small and controlled, not aggressive or all-in. If you are comfortable working with a 3% daily loss cap without trying to recover intraday, don't rely on one or two big days to make most of your profits. Prefer a single continuous evaluation instead of resetting mentally between phases. And finally, want faster access to funding. These traders usually think in terms of process over targets. For them, the one step is efficient, not easier, just more direct. Now you should think twice if you are a trader who often push daily drawdown limits, use news spikes or high volatility days to hit target quickly, need a swing account for holding through news, weekends, or for longer term positions, like having a second phase to slow down and lock in consistency. For these traders, the one step model often feels restrictive and expensive over time. The important thing in this is that FTMO did not create the one step to replace the two step. They created it to separate trading styles, speed versus flexibility, structure versus breathing room, and once you understand where you sit in that trade-off, that's when the choice becomes obvious. If this video helped you understand FTMO's one-step challenge model, the next level is understanding how prop firms actually work behind the scene. Not just one firm, but the entire model. I've put that into a dedicated prop firms YouTube playlist that keeps growing over time. In that list, I just don't talk about concepts. I walk through real applications, including how prop firms are structured and how their rules really function in practice, proven methods and frameworks for passing prop firms challenge consistently, and how to automate large parts of the process using trading bots, expert advisors, and rule-based systems to remove emotions and improve pass rates. It's a practical, system-focused, and built for traders who want repeatable results, not lucky runs. Click here to view the playlist, and I will see you next week.